The Vikings came from Scandinavia, the three territories that we know today as Denmark, Norway, and Sweden.
Norway literally means the northern way, the northern sailing route, and it's one long coastline punctuated by fjords, while the land itself is broken up by mountains, so it's much easier to get around by boat than by land.
Forced into ships, they were quick to realize the possibilities.
I think they were very astute people, that they could see quite quickly, again through this maritime network that they had, that there was a much wider world out there. And I think it's probably one of the most important aspects of the Viking Age, that they were very much a people who looked outwards. They are exceptionally curious people and exceptionally brave in terms of where they want to go with their ships and why.
The Vikings had dreams of exploration and conquest. They needed a vessel to match: the longship. Remarkably, some still survive. This is a so-called Osberg ship, uncovered from a burial mound south of Oslo in Norway in 1904. It's now in the capital's Viking Ship Museum. It is the oldest Norwegian Viking ship. 95% of its original timbers survive.
This Viking ship was preserved like a tinned Viking ship, really. No one had seen anything like it. It was even so well preserved that one day the archaeologist found a bucket, like a huge bucket, and in the bucket there were apples, and they were still red. That's amazing.
The features that made it such an effective combat ship are also intact. Most important is its shape. The longship, a catch-all term for all large Viking vessels, has a shallow draft, meaning that very little of the hull was below the waterline. This helped them move swiftly and in shallow water, deep into enemy territory.
In the beginning of the Viking era, it's really the speed at which they were able to attack, that their ships just gave them mobility that was unheard of, essentially, that they can just round a headland in a fleet of ships and sail right up onto the beach.
They can also go right up rivers and sail deep inland. That meant that they could attack targets inland in Britain and Ireland. In France, they sailed all the way up to Paris, up the Seine. In Russia, again, they're penetrating deep into the river systems.
Soon they ventured even further, to the Mediterranean and the Middle East, and west across the North Atlantic. Their raiding ships had to withstand longer voyages and combat at sea. From the 8th century, they were equipped with a large sail, which was supported by a massive block of timber called the keelson. It spread the weight of the mast and the strain of the sail when underway. When there was no wind, the crew would place oars through holes in the upper strakes, or planks. Parts of the decking were kept loose, so weapons and plunder could be stored underneath. And it was designed to strike terror upon arrival.
I think it probably would have been an incredibly awe-inspiring and terrifying sight, that we know from the historical depictions that these ships were highly decorated, quite a few of them would have been painted, and I think it probably would have just struck absolute terror into the hearts of people if you knew that when you saw a fleet of 5, 10, 15 ships coming around the headland and you knew that they were full of warriors and that they were sailing directly for your little coastal settlement. I think you would pack your bags and